back in February, somebody had posted a picture from one of SJ's books that they were reading, and they made some sort of a comment on there, and I agreed with their comment, and I was doing my own reading into it and everything, and I got to looking at the page that was the photo of the page that was taken, and I saw a couple of sentences that didn't seem like something that SJ would write, like an argument that she would make. And I said that doesn't seem like, something that I would normally see SJ, write in her blogs. I've read a lot of SJ's blogs and a lot of her writings, a lot of her tweets. So I decided to Google it. I Googled one sentence out of it, and I came back with a link to another blog to it. And in that blog was a lot of the stuff that SJ had written just on this page, including a couple of Bible verses that were made one after another, the same as on the blog, some sentences verbatim. And but the author of the article on the blog was it didn't specify anybody's name. So I said, well, this could possibly be SJ. I'm going to give her that benefit of the doubt. So I commented with the link on Twitter, and I said, I guess SJ has another blog. And SJ came back, well, that's ridiculous. Why would I copy some sentence? And I never said anything about plagiarism, never said anything about copying. Said, I guess SJ has another blog. And SJ immediately jumped to the defense for reasons that would soon become known to me, for sure. And so that made me curious. So after getting PDF and hard copy of her books, I went through them on my own, in between then and now, and I had been reading them and everything, and found several instances of outright plagiarism and other types of academic dishonesty, and didn't really say anything, didn't really bring anything up until SJ unnecessarily I don't remember the date on it. I have the tweet screenshots. It was,
and when you found this blog, you say you were thinking it was SJ.
Well, I wasn't. To be honest with you, I didn't think that it was SJ because the blog writing wasn't in SJ's style. But I was giving SJ the benefit of the doubt that maybe.
Right, but what my question is though was the author name from this blog like some kind of screen?
I believe the author's name, I'll have to look again, but it was either admin or owner or admin or administrator or something like that.
So it was a screen name then. It wasn't like somebody's first and last name. It was like a name that could have belonged to somebody else then, right?
But to find out, it was in fact not SJ. It was somebody by the name of Otangelo Grasso.
Oh, okay, so you did ascertain what their actual name was in the long
Yes,
run.
I've actually been in contact with them.
Okay.
Yeah, and in May, somebody had, I believe it was in May. No, it may have been earlier than that. Let me see. Sorry, just one second. Okay, yeah, it was at the very beginning of May 1st. I was responding to I forget how it came up, but somebody brought up me catching SJ in plagiarism, and SJ responded to that with me not confirming it, not calling it, not saying plagiarism or anything. She said, that's really crappy of you, Jim. You know very well that you pulled some random sentence off the internet and made a claim I copied it. Why would I do such a thing, particularly when I know a bunch of hacks are trying to lie about me with this accusation? Plus, my job. Oh crap, my battery's running low. 1 second.
Oh yeah, no problem. And this is kind of what I missed because I don't do Twitter a lot. I just when I saw the tweet from SJ calling Jim a toxic liar, I responded. I try to make it a point not to respond too much to SJ's what she puts on Twitter. Because I really don't want to offend her too much. Like I want her to come on the show and talk with us, but I don't really do the Twitter thing all that much. Like I usually have it on, but I don't really look at it very often. I don't interact with it like a lot of people do. So I missed a lot of what was going on. So when SJ really brought up the meat of it, I was kind of thrown for a loop. So I'm really glad that Jim is here. He'll be back in just a moment to really fill it in.
He said something was ringing. What was ringing?
No, he said his battery was running out. So I think that I think he's probably maybe switching some stuff.
Right.
So he should be back in just a moment.
Yeah, he'll dip back in, I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, I think I remember myself too. When I saw that tweet by SJ, I jumped in on that. Like you said, we had SJ on, and that wasn't really the purpose of the stream. I wanted to get her thoughts on the poem that we put out on your channel that I wrote and recited. But at the end, I did touch base on this, and she had got to give her say her piece, and so we want to have Jim on here to say his piece, and I have some thoughts. I'll save for when.
Well, yeah, and I do want to be fair to SJ, and I did reach out to her before we streamed and said that I'm going to try to be fair here. Jim is a friend. We haven't talked in a while, but at the same time, Jim is a person that came on the streams a lot. Jim is a person that I respect. Jim is also a person that one night when I was drunk last year, and here he comes back. But I was just kind of recounting the story, Jim. Last year when I was drinking, I was drunk one night and I was spouting off on Twitter. And you corrected me, and I think I drunkenly raged on you.
No.
Yeah, I did. I went off, and instead of getting mad about it, I woke up the next day. I reached out to Jim, and I was like, you know what, you was right. I was totally just fucking raging out, and I've thought about it, and you were right, and he was right. It was about animism. I think I spouted off about how like atheism is natural state and shit. And that way back in the day, we didn't have religion. And Jim brought up, well, animism was a religion. And I'm like, I raged out, and he didn't get butthurt about it. It didn't end our relationship. It didn't go to no personal thing, and he accepted my apology the next day and was very gracious with me about that. So that's why I really wanted to be fair when it came to this, and definitely give Jim a chance to really respond to some of the things that were said.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Well, and myself too, even when we had SJ on and touched on this at the end of the stream, and I don't remember the exact thing she was saying, and my first response was, well, that's not the Jim I know. I mean, and I tried to be diplomatic and say to her, I'm not saying that.
Yeah, we tried to be fair, but even after she left, I was, we were both like, this, at least her spin on this doesn't sound like the Jim Majors either one of us had come to know.
Well, and the thing is too, like you said, she sent us some things through DMs, and I don't know. I just think that she is over. After having a chance to look at the DMs and look at the tweets and all that, I think that she is kind of overreacting to this whole thing. I mean, I don't fault her for feeling how she feels. I mean, because that's personal. How you feel about something. But I look at it as that Jim was pointing out something out. And maybe during the course of them going back and forth about it, maybe Jim got snarky. She was snarky too. But I think the original thing was, hey, SJ, you might want to look at this, and address it, because I'm sure you don't want this out there. That's the way I took it as, the genesis of it. Well, and then the thing is too, is sometimes, and I'll be done here in a second, sometimes somebody can do something like that because it's in your brain. And you might think, oh, this is original thought on my part. But actually, you read it somewhere else, or you heard it somewhere else. And then down the line, you know what I mean? It could have been as innocent as that.
No,
well, as Ali,
unless you can memorize, sentence after sentence and, full passages, I don't think so.
Well, yeah. Right. and I'm not saying I know one way or the other, but at the point you pointed it out to her, that could have been her fallback position. You know what I mean? Like, instead of doubling down, it could have been like, oh, wow, thank you for pointing that out to me. But
well, I think that with Twitter, as Ali is always reminding me, is it's really hard to read tone and intent in a tweet. So, you know, I think from what I've seen, I can understand to where she feels like she's being attacked on a personal level. But I also see in those DMs, like it never really went to a personal level. Like you've never tried to, you know, actually approach her university, wherever she's working, and try to get her job taken away. From what I've seen of the DMs, it looks like, you know, you guys had an exchange to where you talked about it. But at the same time, I don't know. I got the impression like she was directly under attack, that people were like approaching her school. Right. But we'll let you continue, like kind of like filling it in, because your shit cut out and you was like right in the middle of telling your side of it. So yeah, we'll let you continue.
Yeah, so SJ then, you know, went on to say that I accused her of plagiarism back in February. So no, SJ, I did not accuse you of plagiarism, because it got into a huge argument and everything like that. And it ended up me responding to SJ and tell her, well, I feel like it was more than just a couple of sentences, you know, but you know, whatever. Were there other people who said that she was plagiarizing? Yeah, absolutely. And then in May, the beginning of May, she called me a liar, said that I was lying about her, saying that she accused her of plagiarizing. And then she called me a toxic liar. Then she proceeded to say that I was nuts, that I was crazy, and all because I was asking her to provide evidence. I said, actually, I never said that. I'd never accused you of plagiarism. Post a tweet, screenshot it. I look for it. I never have. She kept calling me crazy, nuts, just trying to discredit and undermine me. So I went out of my way, posted the tweet myself, and got very, very, how should we say, very curt with her, very, very, very stern. And after I posted the proof that I did not, in fact, say that she was plagiarizing, she blocked me. And then she posted a few more tweets that were really childish. One from last year, and she said proof of Jim's ongoing dishonesty, and it was me telling SJ that she was being sneaky. And I was like, okay, SJ, like, you got me, you know, like, but so I decided that all these cases of plagiarism, like this is something that is, it needs to be addressed fully, because SJ's been approached by many people on Twitter. People have written blogs about her. Amateur Exegete has several blogs about her and her academic dishonesty. But nobody's really done anything about it. Nobody's really gotten SJ to stop. Now that we all know that SJ repeats things even when she's been proven wrong many, many times. She has her go-tos. SJ is unoriginal. Everything about SJ is unoriginal, down to her turtleneck. Everything. And she cannot come up with her own original ideas. And I have evidence of that, great evidence of that. I have evidence that she quote mines people that she cite are actually getting their stuff from other sources. I have so much evidence that SJ, even the things that she does cite, she's not citing them from an original source.
Well, and just to play devil's advocate for just a minute here, I would say it's kind of difficult for Christian apologists to be original. I mean, you're talking about something different, you know, using somebody's words verbatim. That's one thing, you know, but as far as like ideas go, it's probably pretty hard at this, you know, stage for Christian apologists to be original, because it's all been out there, you know, every argument's been out there for.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree
in some cases.
You know, I've made quite a few videos on SJ. I think she started watching them after she came on the channel. You know, I don't apologize because I'm me, but at the same time, it's you know, I've seen her on Twitter and I've seen some of her work, and yeah, she spouts off a lot of the shit that everybody else says. And I don't think she's as good a debater as she thinks she is. Definitely. But I do think that, you know, I think she's genuine in her beliefs, in that she believes the shit that she thinks. I could see how this could escalate from a point of argument to a serious point. And I think that you do make a good point, that people should call her out on that. But when it comes to like plagiarism, I can tell you as like a writer, it's really a really hard thing to prove. It's very
sure.
Very, very difficult to prove it. But go ahead. We'll let you continue.
So after all that was done and said, I made the announcement that I was going to be making this video, and SJ immediately got in contact with me. Pardon me. Well, she got in contact with me via Steve McCrae. Steve contacted me and said that basically that I needed to talk to SJ, that we needed to talk to each other and work it out. And I said, okay, fine. I said, I will talk to SJ, but she's blocked me. She's made no efforts this far. So I have no desire to go out of my way and stop making this video to talk to her about something that I have evidence of. Like, why would I do that? But I decided, you know, I have this weakness, I guess. I would say it's probably a weakness in this case, where I see the best in somebody, where I see that everybody has potential to be their best version of themselves. And I believe that SJ can be the best version of herself. So I'm always giving her chances, always chance after chance after chance. So I say, okay, Steve, but under this condition, she approaches me, she contacts me, and we discuss this. We can discuss it off air. That's fine. But I want SJ to address these issues, and if they are addressed to my satisfaction, then I will not post the video. But she needs to contact me, and we have to have this discussion. End of story. I didn't ask for an apology. Didn't ask for anything. So SJ says that she apologized to me. The apology was to be for what? For calling me a liar. I'm guessing. So I'm guessing that Steve talked to her. I don't know what he told her, but either he didn't tell her what I told him to tell her, because he wanted to be the liaison. He wanted to be the go-between. He put himself up to this. So okay, you want to do this? You handle this.
Yeah, we both saw the DMs
within minutes.
Yeah, we both saw the DMs to where you clearly tell her, I don't know what Steve told you, but this is not what I agreed to.
Right. So she messaged me and she said, Truce, I'm sorry for calling you a toxic liar. I just find any accusations of plagiarism to be offensive and baseless. But on Steve's advice, I'm unblocking you, forgiving you, and moving on. Take care. When I got that, I was flabbergasted. What the fuck? Like, what? Like, huh? And sure enough, she'd unblocked me on both of my accounts. And then I was thinking, I was like, well, she says that she forgives me, like, but then she says, I just find any accusations to be offensive and baseless. It's like, well, then, so you're calling me a liar, but you're apologizing for calling me a liar? I don't get that. So I responded to her and I said, I'm not sure what Steve told you, but I told him that I would consider not posting the video if you approach me with a desire to have the conversation and satisfactorily resolve this, whether it be you giving legitimate explanations for the issues I have with your writings or not. And he said that you were willing to have this discussion. If he led you to believe that this was something that I would brush this off, you were misled. If you don't know, that's on Steve. I had no intention on attempting to contact you before the video, but Steve asked me to allow you the chance. He's backed out for whatever reason, but I'll honor my offer. I said we discuss and resolve the issues with a text, and you can publicly take accountability for any proven misconduct and apologize to those affected. If for some reason you don't want to discuss this or dismiss legitimate cases, then the video goes on as planned. I told Steve I'd give you 24 hours to approach me, discuss and to resolve it appropriately. I'm willing to make it 24 hours from now since the message wasn't received as intended. I said, and I reminded her, I said, I'm approaching you with this request when I said that I wouldn't. I'm putting myself out there one last time. This is just me and you, SJ, and I'm begging you, don't take this lightly. That is what I told her. She proceeded to go back and forth, and him and Hall asked for the evidence so that she could go through it, and insisted that she didn't plagiarize, and then questioned whether or not I got copies of her books. And I said,
didn't understand that.
Right. And so I sent him, I answered all of her questions. I told her that I'm not sending anything over for her to look over, that we could discuss them together and that she could have the chance to clear anything up, or that I could finish the video that would provide the evidence of what I found to be the most problematic and blatant cases in there. I told her that I knew what plagiarism was because she told me that I didn't, and that I don't use that term lightly, and I don't. And I told her, I said, in fact, I don't know that I've ever accused anyone of plagiarism until now, and I don't believe that I have. And in all of our interactions between me and SJ, I've only ever tried to be as honest and forthright with her as possible, and that I didn't accuse her of things that I can't justify, and that if I misrepresented her, then I would correct myself, or that I had corrected myself, and that I'm willing to do so here, but only if we discuss it and truly come to some sort of a resolution. And then I sent her the University of Tampa, where she works, their policy on plagiarism, where it clearly outlines and defines plagiarism. It was a document with screenshots of the policies that were violated. And I said, this is all that I'll provide. I've highlighted for you only the policies that I have no doubt were violated. You can decide what you want to do from there. And the reason that I sent the University of Tampa's case of plagiarism is because she is a professor there. She grades children's papers there. She grades their essays using the same program that she insists clears her of any wrongdoing. So I figured that would be the policies that she would be most familiar with, so that she would have no reason to deny knowing what plagiarism was, or say, well, that's not how I understand plagiarism. And she sent me the results from the software and said basically that that the report cleared her of any wrongdoing, and she said that I lose. Sorry, Jim, but you lose, is what she said.
Well, I just want to tell the audience something just to be clear. And when he sent the information about what the policy was at the university she works at, that was through DMs. That was not blasted out on public Twitter. It was not a tweet. It was
it was a question in the chat earlier. I saw it, but I didn't want to interrupt the flow of the conversation. Well, I can't find it now, but and I think you just addressed that. It was pretty much, why did you bring up the policies about her particular school?
Well, I also want to reiterate something that Jim shared with us in the beginning too, for people to keep in mind as he's going through this. Is he did say that when this all first started way back when, he never used the word plagiarism in his back and forth with even in the beginning of this.
I didn't even say copy. I did never accuse her of using somebody else's work.
Yeah, and my intent here, and I told that to Jim, and I told it to SJ as well, is to be fair. SJ was here. She gave a quick, it was at the end of the stream, but she gave like her interpretation of these things.
Yes.
So we wanted to have Jim on to give his interpretation of the things. Before the stream started, I messaged SJ. I told her that I wanted to be fair. I wanted to be open-minded. If she had any problems whatsoever with the things being said in this stream, I would give her a chance to respond. But I also told Jim before this, I haven't told this to SJ, my ultimate goal, hopefully, would bring the two of you guys together to be able to resolve this issue. So I'm not here trying to bash SJ to take one side or the other. You are somebody that I consider we've become friendly over the times. You've been on several of my streams. We've had a lot of good times here on this channel with you here.
Absolutely.
And I'm all about fairness and about truth. And I just wanted you to be able to get out your truth since she came here and said some things that I wasn't expecting.
Sure. Well, I after your stream, I released a video with all these DMs, so I'm not gonna go into it too much. So, but if anybody wants to see the DMs, I put them in real quick at the end of the video, so you can go in and you can pause them. They're on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Jim Majors. But SJ brought up her school in the DM and said that the software that she used to check her stuff for plagiarism was what her school uses. And I said that I didn't care whether or not her school is concerned with her acts of academic dishonesty. I told her, I said, your cockiness is the end of this conversation. I can't say that I didn't try, or you can't say that I didn't try. See you in the video. And she asked me to read it again and said, "What's wrong with you? Seriously?" And she said that it checks students' papers, publications in the internet. And I said, this is the last message between me and SJ. I said, I don't give a fuck what it says. It only searches the text within its database. You are either being totally dishonest or you're totally clueless about how the algorithms in your own software work. Goodbye, SJ. And she continued with very childish things. After that, she called it a witch hunt, which I thought was hilarious that she called it a witch hunt.
Well, I will say, as a writer, somebody that's written, I've written my whole life. I've published. I've failed publishing my great American novel that I spent 8 fucking years writing. It's still sitting in my in my bedroom collecting dust right now. But as a writer, I can tell you that the accusations of plagiarism is something that should be taken seriously, and it's something that you should approach your accuser to try to explain yourself.
Yes.
And some software isn't going to tell the truth of that. Like, if you have hard evidence, honestly, of, hey, this is a problem, come address this with me. As a writer, I would feel compelled to go and address that with you and give you my side. Hey, this is why I wrote this. I did not plagiarize. I did not do this. This right. is, I wrote this, and it just, maybe coincidence lined up with something that somebody else wrote. Again, I don't really believe in coincidence, but whatever story you're going to give. But as a writer, I would feel compelled. And SJ, if you are listening, that maybe you should come with Jim, maybe address these things, be civil, maybe have a moderator. If it's Steve McRae, it's Steve McRae. I had issues with Messenger Reveals. MathPig reached out to both of us, set up a private conversation between both of us. Now, it resolved a lot of our personal issues. It didn't resolve the overall issue. That would require other people. If people are familiar with that whole situation, you would understand. But the thing is, you should be able to come to a private meeting and try to resolve issues. I think that's the thing here is it doesn't have to blow up into this big spectacle. Come to a private meeting and address the fucking issue.
We are way past not putting the video up.
Well, yeah, and I say that would be between your decision and SJ. That's totally between y'all two.
Right. Well, I feel like I've given her many opportunities. Steve stepped in, tried. This is on SJ. This is not on anybody but her.
So yeah. So SJ, if you are listening, I think the issue could be resolved. I mean, maybe not. So,
and it is too knock, because this was at the end of the video where we're talking about the poem. She could come on and take like another half hour or so, just so we're given equal time. But like the thing that drew me into this to begin with on Twitter is that word, those 2 words, toxic liar. Okay, because not only
SJ's in the chat. Hi, SJ or Jolie.
But not only have I been on a lot of streams with Jim, but me and Jim have me and Jim have talked extensively, on the phone and on Discord and after streams where we stayed in, whatever platform we were using to talk.
Hours.
What is Jolie talking about here? I don't get that. I didn't see any. I didn't hear any doxing.
Can I finish my statement?
Sorry, I don't know, but I mean, accusations of doxing are probably even more serious.
Yeah.
No, I didn't dox her.
I'm gonna speak to that too, and I'm sure Jim will want to say something. But the 2 words toxic and liar are not even in my lexicon or a lot of other people that know Jim as far as to describe him, because he's far from toxic. And as far as I know, I've never known him.
I know. I personally responded immediately to that tweet, that accusation. I'm like, Jim isn't a toxic liar. And I also responded like, and SJ knows this because it was her tweet, like, it kind of involving Steve, friend against friend was kind of a shitty thing to do. But that's something that I told that straight to SJ. So that's not a surprise.
Hey, so just that last thing you had up, I want Jim to speak to it because I don't like. I've looked through all of that, and I don't even see where.
Maybe I totally missed it. I know frustrated. Russ is in the side chat. What's up, frustrated atheist? He said that that's public information. I must have missed.
My question was though is, I don't see where in that exchange where there was anything that could even be construed as doxing. That's
that's SJ's alternate account. She's again doing her best to discredit me and undermine me.
So again, I reached out to SJ. If she wants to come on and respond, I would much rather a private conversation between Jim and SJ happen than this a back and forth on a YouTube channel. I know a lot of people I've seen in the chat. Oh, this is drama. I'm not really interested in the drama of it. Like, I'm interested in the truth, and again, I just want to be fair. SJ was here, and I thought it only fair to give Jim a chance to respond. So this isn't about drama. This is just about it was made public on my channel. Some things were said. So
and she also went on her channel. On when Dr. Josh came on her channel after your channel, and she again accused me of threatening her, accused me of just saying things that I did not say. So I just want to clarify. It appears that SJ apologized to me. She made an apology, but then took it right back by saying that I was a liar again. So SJ did nothing there for herself. She didn't address any of the issues. She didn't had no desire to discuss this with me. No desire whatsoever. I have no interest in coming together with SJ. I have an interest in getting through this video, getting it out there so everybody can see, and just showing people that there are many instances that you can go and find for yourself. It's not hard to check for plagiarism. If anybody wants a PDF of SJ's book, ask her for it. She's given them out for free. She gave me one of them for free. Actually, one of the ones that I found plagiarism in. But I just want it to be clear that I am not a liar. I am not toxic. I do not, gaslight people and tell them that they're crazy, that they're nuts, that I don't know what I'm talking about, that I don't know what plagiarism is. Like lady.
Well, yeah, I think you're smart enough to understand what the fuck plagiarism is. I mean, SJ, that's a little out there.
If I didn't know what plagiarism is, I'd be thrown the fuck out.
Yeah, I mean, I learned about plagiarism. To be fair, I started writing stories when I was like fucking 5, but I've understood what plagiarism is probably since I was 7. Like the first time I tried to copy Stephen King, and my dad was like, "You can't do that shit."
That's hilarious, man. I love Stephen King.
Hey, guys, why does somebody posted SJ in the house?
Yeah. Well, she's here under her alternate account, Jolie Brando. She's making it seem like there's somebody here to defend her and trying to undermine me. She was the person who accused me of doxing her.
And again, I'm not.
And she hasn't commented since then, so I guess she backed out.
I'm really not trying to attack SJ here. I'm not.
I am.
I know that's fair. I really am.
No, now SJ's in the house. Now it's SJ.
My intention is to be fair. I want.
I'm in the house.
I've told both of you I'm interested in the truth. So you haven't approached her school or anything like that. You just pretty much pointed it out to her.
No. In fact, I made it clear. I've tweeted. I said I am not interested in jeopardizing anybody's livelihood. I made that clear.
So,
well, here, and as a matter of fact,
the video's not done yet.
I got it right up here on my phone, and like somebody posted in there, I think it was Frustrated Atheist. It's not. There was no doxing involved because it's something that SJ shares quite readily about where she works, and she's a professor at a college and has a PhD and all that stuff. But where that came from was someone had tweeted, "I talked to my wife, who's a lawyer, about this. She's concerned that being caught plagiarizing might put SJ's job at risk with her institution." But it seems maybe not so likely to me, since the book is not related to her area of professional research. Anybody else have any speculations? And then Jim responded, I do not have any intention of jeopardizing livelihood. That being said, after doing some research regarding the University of Tampa's position on plagiarism, I found that they do reserve the right to terminate a faculty member for unprofessional conduct outside of work. So some people, I think, looked at that and said, oh, he's mentioning where she works, and that's doxing. But it's not, because I knew that because SJ has mentioned it before. I mean, So
your video's not out yet. Is there still a chance that you and SJ can come together and hash this out? I know Steve is a friend to both of you guys. I don't know how you feel about Steve now, but I'm assuming you still trust Steve. I know she trusts Steve. I think Steve would be a good moderator for such a discussion. If that could happen, that's my intention here, and I was clear about that before we even started tonight. But like, I would really, I liked seeing the exchanges between you and SJ. I liked the debates. I thought you was good for her, she was good for you.
Sure,
I'm really sad that it has devolved into this place that it's in.
I have no problem debating SJ. I will still debate SJ, but she has had her chance to deal with this in a private manner. If what I say in the video, if what I post is incorrect, then she can correct me. Then we can go on and have the discussion. But we are way past the point of me not releasing this video.
Yeah, and I'll totally respect that. And again, SJ, if I put it out there, if you want to come on and rebut, I'm totally open to that. But yeah, I do feel like I'm more informed now, because like when this came up,
if she wants to ask a question in the live chat, in fact, if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Yeah, and I will look. I'm terrible with my side chats.
This kind of bothers. This whole thing kind of bothers me from the standpoint of like what you said, Knock. Is it like I would see SJ and Jim interact on Twitter, and they've been on a few streams together and everything, and it was always like, just to give an like James Carville and his wife, he's a Democrat and she's a Republican, and here was this atheist and this Christian apologist that seemingly were getting along very well, and both having their opinions and totally polarized opinions, but still getting together regularly on social media and and sussing things out. And that's one of the things I wish that it had been resolved early on instead of it blowing up into this thing, because it was quite entertaining watching Jim and SJ interact.
Yeah, but it does seem like it's come to a point now. I was totally ignorant when she came on. I had seen just that tweet, but I really don't try to delve into Twitter drama. I try not to delve into community drama too much, because I have enough drama with fucking Matt Powell. So that's enough for me. So I was very ignorant about all of that has transpired. I still feel like, that maybe John's right. Because it was only maybe 5 or 10 minutes with SJ. That I would like to get SJ's opinion. But at the same time, Jim, you've been a friend, and you've been a good dude. And I don't see you as a liar. So I think that, I don't know. I'm still hoping maybe some resolution here at the same time between y'all.
What I'm defending here aren't my accusations of plagiarism. Let me make that clear. I already have that defense, and it's coming out in video form. What I'm here today is to defend the accusations that I threatened to contact her work, and
that's what piqued my interest.
And that I was a liar. So everybody knows where to find the DMs. As a matter of fact, I read through most of them in this video. Go read them for yourself. If somebody, if you'd like, I can post them on Twitter. SJ's already made it clear that she has no problem with it being made public, so I'll make them public. You can read them for yourself. There are no threats. I have no desire to contact SJ's employment. This is, again, SJ's attempt to discredit me and to undermine me and to make me look stupid and ridiculous. This is not SJ's first time gaslighting me, and it probably won't be the last time that she gaslights somebody.
Well, here's the thing too, is that, like, okay, I follow SJ. SJ followed me back when I followed her on Twitter. And much like you, when SJ posts something that I disagree with or a faulty argument, I go after her on Twitter. You did the same thing for a long, long time. So I don't understand, even when this first began, she always accepted, when you called her out on faulty thinking. But she didn't block you or get rid of you or anything like that. So that's what's kind of making me lean towards, and I'm not saying, I'm not going to go out on a limb and say, well, SJ's lying about all this, because maybe she's just mistaken. But that's what makes me think that there's something different here about her using
SJ. I just want to address something real quick. SJ, I did not send a DM to you with your employer's policy. Okay, as your employer, I sent it to you as a policy of something that you would be familiar with as far as what plagiarism is, so that way you have no reason to say that, oh, well, that's not what I think plagiarism is, because you accused me of not knowing what plagiarism is. So I posted what you know plagiarism is. Had nothing to do, had jack shit to do with your employer. So you can drop that right now.
Well, that was done through DMs too. That wasn't put out on a
I do want to be fair and empathetic to SJ's position and maybe explain why it might be a bit different, John. As a writer, I've always been freelance. I write poetry, I write books. But if you feel like your actual livelihood, your tenureship as a professor is being threatened, if you're on a professional level and an allegation of plagiarism is thrown at you, it does become very, very personal. So I can completely understand.
She has nothing to worry about, though, because it would be investigated by her university before they did anything. So she has nothing to worry about. Why are you getting so
trying to be empathetic with SJ's position? Like, I can understand. I can understand the change that John is talking about in this particular situation. That as a writer, even that wouldn't have anything to lose, I personally would take it very, very seriously.
No, SJ's not going to come in. She said that she's busy right now. Apparently this isn't important enough.
Well, she's welcome, but we did say we wanted to try to end by 8:00 because Jim has things to do, and Divine Disbelief reached out to me and they didn't want to override. But I'm willing to let this go longer if SJ does want to come in. I would love to bring you two together so you guys can hash this out. It's not just a back and forth on my channel or whatever.
So if I could just finish my thought from like 8 minutes ago.
Okay, go for it, John.
But no, all I was trying to say is like I said, I've seen this back and forth, between Jim and SJ going on for months. Maybe it's been years. I don't know. And myself, I have, responded to her. But there's something different about this. And I don't know exactly what it is, but I just don't understand why, when this issue first came up, why it wasn't just a back and forth and then maybe a private conversation.
Why wasn't squashed?
I don't know why. It just makes me wonder what else is going on here, SJ, that all of a sudden you blocked him. It's
okay. It's in the video. It's because SJ knows that it wasn't just that one page. Let me remind you, this is from one page of one book that I ascertained this. One page out of one book. She has two books. After getting the other copy of her book, going through both of them, I found multiple instances. So many that I had to narrow it down to just the most egregious. So fucking many. An insane amount. And other types of academic scholarship. Just horrible, just ridiculous stuff. Somebody that has an academic, let me remind you, SJ has a PhD. She's a fucking professor at a college. She grades essays. Turnitin software, SJ, does not clear you. Turnitin software only checks against the sources, the texts that are in its database. That algorithm does not check everything, SJ, and you know that. If it did, then it would have come back with some plagiarism, because as you should know, some plagiarism is to be expected in Turnitin software because of, especially with things like Bible verses and quotes. but for some reason yours came back 0%. Why? Because you did not check the boxes for all the sources just in that software. So even though you could have run it through and gotten some of the sources, you chose to select 0 of the sources and show both of them at 0%. You as an academic should know better than that, SJ. This is the peak of academic dishonesty.
Well, and I'm not going to like in a couple of my videos, I do call that out specifically.
It does check the internet, SJ, but only the sources that are in its fucking database. Again, stop trying to undermine me. I'm not an idiot.
Yeah, I'm completely unfamiliar with this type of software. I wish I knew that there was software out there to check myself about copyright when I'm writing my shit. Go ahead, John. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're right. I just wanted to point out something else that was on Twitter between Jim and somebody else, I believe, was that this software, like, it's almost impossible to put any writing through this software and not have it come back with a certain percentage that is saying it's from other sources, because of like what we were talking about earlier, like there's commonality in writing, and there's, you know, things out there in the zeitgeist that everybody has.
It's really hard to have an original idea at
right.
We're
saying it'll come out like
Jim just said, "Oh, SJ." That was the title of my series.
Thank you.
Oh man, this came out 0%. And from what I've read, other people were saying that's not possible. That if you put anything through the software and had the software set up properly, it should come back with like some single-digit percentile anyway. Isn't that right, Jim?
Yeah, that's right. SJ just said that she quoted Hugh Ross's Bible quotes, and that the blogger must have done the same. And I'm so happy that you said that, because I'm going to put that in my video, because that's hilarious, knowing what I know, knowing that you should know what I know. Oh man.
I'll definitely watch the video when it come out. Like, sorry, John. I was like literally confused because I thought the video that was linked on Twitter was like the video you was talking about. So I'm glad that I'm not confused about that anymore. I'm definitely gonna watch that video. SJ, I will say this: like, from our interactions since that stream happened, we've had some private DMs. I actually have more respect for SJ than I did before. Enough so that I actually decided to stop my OSJ series on the political bullshit she was putting out. You know, I just felt like I didn't need to continue that. I am interested in this though. I ultimately hope that maybe someday in the future you two can really squash this beef. Like I said, like John said, and I think a lot of people out there really appreciated the exchanges between the both of you. I do understand where you are coming from though. As a writer, you know, I've tried to be empathetic to SJ's position, but at the same time, as a writer, if she is plagiarizing, SJ, if you are plagiarizing, I'm not accusing you of this. I would just say to stop, and to writers, it is a cardinal sin.
And she also accused me of not being in school.
Really? So, and that's one thing I do know about you. Like, you're definitely in school.
This was from way back in the chat, and I don't know, SJ, maybe you weren't here, but I actually read this tweet out that Jim was responding to. But I'll let Jim respond to this, because I see it as something innocuous. Somebody tweeted something about it, and Jim was responding, and he started, you know, he didn't tell anything out at school. I mean, you've told many people, you know, what school you work at, and so I don't understand. But go ahead, Jim, if you want to respond to that.
It's just, this is really just, I don't know. It's, at first I was sad because, like, you know, I wanted SJ to be better. Just bottom line, flat out wanted SJ to be better. But now this is just, it has turned personal. And this is just, I've never met anybody who is so willing to just outright lie about somebody and just make somebody feel like absolute shit just in order to defend themselves. Somebody who has, I would say, as an atheist, that I've been nicer to SJ than 99% of the atheists out there. And I'm really upset by it. At first, it was just like I was hurt, but now I'm just fucking pissed.
Well, yeah, and I can empathize with your position here. Like, if anybody really came, the Manatee tried to come and bring me and Matt Powell together, and I'm like, at this point, I've received death threats on my kid, and he dismissed it and laughed about it in the modern day debate that he continuously tries to uphold as his great victory over me. So I laugh at that. Like, no, there's no coming together with this dude. So I totally empathize with your position. Again, I hope that maybe one day it can happen. SJ, I really hope that you and Jim can resolve this issue. Again, I want to put it out there. You're more than welcome to come and respond. I'm sure you will on your stream, regardless. Do you? I really am just trying to be fair here. And let both sides of the story be out there. I'm going to tell you, like Jim's a friend, I don't have a conclusion yet. I need to think and I need to come to a determining factor that I'll share with both of you.
Well, and I want to just make just a small disclaimer here that I think Jim would also agree with, even though, he is in a dispute with SJ. By no means, I'm going to speak for myself, and hope my brother Knock agrees with me. By no means are we trying to say that SJ and Matt Powell are equatable.
Oh yeah, okay. Not at all, not at all.
That's one thing. Not even a part of this. I don't think people should be equated just because of their beliefs.
No, and SJ totally called Matt Powell out. Like, mad respect to SJ for that.
Yep. So anyway, where do you think we're at here? Was there anything else to get to, Jim?
I also want to point out SJ had Dr. Josh on for a stream, in which I believe it's around 33 minutes and a half or 32 minutes and a half. No, it's 33 minutes and 50 seconds. She says is where she accused me again of threatening her and things like that. So she did it both on the Rage It, and she did it on her own. I'll share the DMs, and you guys can be the judge and be looking for the video in the next couple of days. I've had problems with the service lately at my house, but it looks like they have this new sales site up that they've been working on. So, trying to get it out in the next couple of days.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to it. I'll definitely get your link in the description. I'm sure that most people who watch me are familiar with you, but if you don't, if you're not familiar with Jim's work, I will be putting his link in the description. I put it in my routine for like a brief moment, and then it slipped out. I've got to be on top of that.
Yohanan Abraham asked if I'd be willing to speak to him on different Torah topics. Absolutely.
That is J-Dubs. And J-Dubs.
Oh, all right on. Okay, yeah, for sure.
J-Dubs just put a very racist tweet out challenging me to a debate. The answer, if you didn't see J-Dubs, you racist fuck, is no. You're not worth you're not worth the dingleberries on my asshole, biatch.
Uh-oh. Wait, what do I not know?
J-Dubs, I saw that tweet too, and once again, you're proving to the world what a piece of shit you are.
Oh shit. Okay, well,
very racist motherfucker.
Oh. Okay, I'm gonna have to give you a rain check on that, Yochanan.
Well, and here's the thing too. I want to mention is everybody that's here. I don't know. Some of you I see are familiar. There's a podcast on earlier on Sundays on Knox channel now every week called the Apostate Alliance, and it's me and Faye the Most Gracious. We bring on ex-Muslims and apostates of other religions, but we focus on ex-Muslims. We bring them on to tell their story of making their way out of Islam. That's every Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern U.S. time. So whatever that translates to your part of the world.
Yeah, and we are thinking about trying to start an after show thing for that. So we really want to bring more eyes to that show. Can't guarantee that the ex-Muslim guests would be able to stick around. A lot of them so far have been UK or across the world, but we would like to have a show to where people can come on after and talk about the show that just happened. And me and John have been talking about doing that.
Yeah, and then or maybe even like go to Discord or something afterwards, maybe.
Yeah, well, get people involved and let people come on and talk about what they just saw.
So that alarm that just went off, that's for me. I got to call my mom and make sure she takes her meds. So again, SK, if you're still listening, Knox says, we could bring you on again and give you a little more time, because you certainly didn't have that much time when we originally talked to you. And then please, both of you consider what Knox was saying about getting both of you together with a moderator. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be, we could do a private thing like Jim wanted to do from the very beginning. It doesn't have to be broadcast. But if we get you guys together in a private chat with a moderator, then maybe you guys can work this out, and then maybe we can have like a live thing, a stream or something like that. But,
sure, yeah, but just to be clear, whether or not a chat happens, the video is happening.
Yeah, and I respect that, Jim. Do you, man? And I do appreciate you coming on and addressing this. I do appreciate the openness. I found it to be just open and honest. And hopefully we can move on from here. I'm sure SJ is going to have her reaction. SJ, again, this was not me attacking you. This was just me giving Jim time to respond. I haven't made a determination. I will. I like to have a lot of information, and I like to think about things before I come to a final determination. Told both Jim and SJ, I don't play team sports. I'm interested in truth. I'm interested in fairness. So yeah, I appreciate you coming on and giving your side of the story.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you being impartial and unbiased, and wanting to look at both sides. I hope that I've satisfied that for you.
Oh yeah, I think that you've went into a lot of detail. And SJ, you're welcome to come on, but again, as John was saying, I think that the best thing would be to have more private conversations with Jim and try to work this shit out between the two of y'all. But again, my space is open. I'm sure SJ, your space is open to whatever you want to do. This will proceed how it does. But thanks, Jim, for coming on and giving your side.
Absolutely, man. Love you guys, and I appreciate you having me.
All right, John, real quick before we go, talk about do you have a guest next week for Apostate Alliance?
Yes, we are having on, and if I can remember, it's
I caught John off guard.
Yeah, well, and I did this too on the stream earlier, so now you're gonna have to wait a second while I bring the TMs up, because I don't want to get this person's name wrong again.
Follow me on Twitter at DJ Majors, and again, subscribe to me on YouTube, youtube.com/Jim Majors. Thank you for that pause, John.
Yeah, and your YouTube channel, Jim.
Yeah, youtube.com/Jim Majors.
All right, yeah, you probably just said that and I missed it.
The person we're having on next week on the Apostate Alliance is a person from Atheist Muslims South Africa. And I'm not sure the person gave me their first name, but I'm not sure whether they want me to share it. But it's a person from Atheist Muslim South Africa, and that'll be next Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, U.S. And then the week after that, I'm hoping to have on somebody you might have seen on Twitter that calls themselves Shmariana Shmonde.
Yeah, so good shows, great shows. Thanks again, Jem, for coming on. Thank you, chat, for being here. SJ, I'm not sure if good came from this, but at the same time, hopefully with information being out there, that I truly believe that truth wins in the end. So wherever this goes, I wish the best for both of you, and hopefully you guys can resolve this, but that is totally between the both of you. SJ, if you want to come on and defend things, feel free. But as always, guys, be the conversation. And thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Let me get everything working right. Yeah, I did. I totally just messed everything up. So
yeah, he had it all set up, and he He hit the X and got rid of it.
Yeah, I do that so much. All right, so what is going on here? Here we go. All right, be the conversation.